2 weeks after the Battle of New Busan, the galaxy was in chaos. The Korvathi Empire sent frantic messages to the Galactic Council. They called humans war criminals. They demanded intervention. They said that Earth's weapons were too cruel, too efficient, too terrible to be allowed. The Council held emergency meetings. But they were paralyzed by fear. For thousands of years they had understood how military power worked in the galaxy. Big fleets beat small fleets. More ships meant more power. But humans had broken those rules. They had shown that 147 ships could destroy 800. Nothing made sense anymore. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Kyung stood in the war room in Geneva. She was 60 years old with gray hair cut short. She had served in the military for 40 years. Now she commanded all of Earth's forces. She looked at the map of the galaxy projected on the wall. Red dots showed Korvathi-controlled systems. Blue dots showed human territory. Yellow dots showed the dying Faloran worlds. "We're not waiting for the Council," she said to her staff. "Launch Operation Righteous Fury, all fleets. Full offensive. Liberate the Faloran systems. Push into Korvathi space." A young officer looked worried. "Admiral, the Council might try to stop us. They might declare us outlaws." "Let them try," Kyung said. "We asked for their help. They refused. We warned them what would happen. They laughed. Now we do what we should have done from the start. We save those who can be saved and punish those who need punishing." The human fleets moved out the next day. They were organized into battle groups. Each group had 20 to 30 ships. They hit the Korvathi forces like hammers. Every battle followed the same pattern. Humans arrived. They broadcast a message offering surrender. Then they attacked. The Korvathi who fought died quickly. The Korvathi who surrendered were treated well. Humans followed something called the Geneva Conventions, old rules from Earth about how to treat prisoners. The Korvathi prisoners could not believe it. They expected torture and death. Instead, they got medical care and warm food in safe quarters. It confused them. Colonel Murray led the ground forces. She was 42 years old and had fought in small wars on Earth. Now she fought on alien worlds. Her team specialized in fast attacks. They would appear from nowhere, strike hard, and disappear before the enemy could respond. Korvathi garrison commanders started deserting their posts rather than face her soldiers. On a liberated Faloran world called Sanctuary, Minister Haru stood in the ruins of his capital city. Human engineers were already working to restore power. Human doctors were treating the sick and wounded. He watched them with tears running down his furry face. Dr. Yuna was there too, supervising the aid efforts. "Why?" Haru asked her. "Your council would not help us. You owed us nothing. Why did you come?" Yuna looked at the human workers around them. "Because it was right. Because you asked for help and we could give it. Because we remember what it feels like to be helpless." "The galaxy will not forget this," Haru said. "My people will not forget." In the Korvathi home system, Prince General Vorn called an emergency meeting of the military council. Vorn was young for a Korvathi leader, only 50 cycles old. He had survived the first human assault on his fleet. He had watched his ships burn. He had learned to fear humans. "We cannot win this war," he told the council. Old generals and admirals looked at him with shock. "The humans are not using their full strength. These are defensive operations, liberation campaigns. If they choose to attack our core worlds, we have no defense." "You speak of surrender," an old admiral demanded. "You shame our ancestors." "I speak of survival," Vorn said. "Our ancestors are dead. We are alive. I intend to keep it that way. The humans gave us warnings. We ignored them. They gave us chances to retreat. We attacked instead. Every choice we made was wrong. Now we pay the price for our arrogance." Councillor Vrax, who had laughed at humans so many times, came to Nexus Prime begging for help. He met with High Chancellor Thiel in a private chamber. "The council must intervene. The humans are destroying the Korvathi Empire. They are violating galactic law." "Which law are they violating?" Thiel asked. His voice was tired. "They withdrew from council jurisdiction. They declared themselves independent. They are free to defend their territory and their allies. Everything they are doing is legal. But they are too strong." Vrax protested. "No one species should have such military power." "Then perhaps you should not have attacked them," Thiel said quietly. "Perhaps you should have listened when they warned you." On Earth, Chairman Seojin gave a speech to all of humanity. It was broadcast across every human world and station. He stood in front of cameras and spoke calmly. For 37 years, we kept our military capabilities secret. Many asked why. Some said we were foolish to hide our strength. But we had a reason. We hoped we would never need these weapons. We hoped the galaxy would be better than our history taught us to expect. We wanted to be proven wrong about the nature of power and violence. He paused. We were not proven wrong. We found the same old story playing out among the stars. Predators and prey, strong and weak, conquerors and victims. So now we will teach the galaxy a different story. We will show them what happens when the prey fights back, when the weak become strong, when those who seek peace are forced to make war. We are not conquerors. We take no joy in this fighting. Every life lost, human or alien, weighs on our hearts. But we will not allow genocide. We will not accept that might makes right. We will defend the helpless and punish the cruel. This is not the mission we wanted, but it is the mission we have been given. 4 weeks into Operation Righteous Fury, human forces controlled 72 star systems. The Corvathi Empire was collapsing. Different factions fought each other to be the first to surrender to humans. They had learned that humans treated prisoners well, much better than the Corvathi treated each other. Fleet Admiral Kyung gathered her commanders for a strategic meeting. Captain Deho was there, along with Colonel Mirai and other senior officers. The Corvathi are broken, Kyung said. We can push all the way to their homeworld. We can occupy their entire empire. The question is, should we? What's our objective? Deho asked. Are we here to destroy them or stop them? Stop them, Kyung said. Earth Command was very clear. We are not building an empire. We are ending a threat. Then we need to accept their surrender, Mirai said. We need to show the galaxy that we know when to stop fighting. That decision was made easier when Prince General Vorn sent a message. He requested a meeting under flag of truce. He wanted to discuss surrender terms. Captain Deho agreed to meet him. The meeting took place on a neutral station halfway between the lines. Vorn came alone except for 2 guards. Deho met him in a simple conference room. The 2 warriors looked at each other across a table. Vorn spoke first. I expected to meet a monster, someone who enjoyed killing. But you look tired. I am tired, Deho said. Tired of fighting. Tired of watching people die. Tired of doing what I hoped I would never have to do. Then why do it? Vorn asked. Because someone had to stop you. Someone had to say no to genocide. Someone had to protect the Florans. The Council would not do it. So we did, Vorn lowered his head. I offer unconditional surrender of all Corvathi military forces. I ask only that you spare civilian populations. We do not have the right to ask for mercy, but I ask anyway. Deho looked at him steadily. We never intended to harm civilians. We are not you. We follow rules of war that your people forgot long ago. Surrender your forces. Submit to war crimes trials for those who committed atrocities. Pay reparations to the Florans. Do these things and we guarantee the safety of every Corvathi civilian. Vorn could not believe what he heard. You would protect us? After everything we did? Yes, Deho said. Because that is what civilized beings do. They protect the innocent even when the innocent come from the same species as the guilty. Your military leaders made these choices. Your civilians did not. We understand the difference. Vorn signed the surrender documents. His hand shook as he did it. When it was done, he looked at Deho and asked the question that haunted him. Why did you hide your strength? If we had known what you could do, we never would have attacked. Deho stood to leave. We hid it because we hoped we would never need to use it. We hoped the galaxy would give us a reason to keep it hidden forever. You gave us a reason to show it instead. The war was over, but the hardest work was just beginning. Now humanity had to show the galaxy something even more difficult than their ability to fight. They had to show their ability to build peace from the ashes of war. 3 months passed. The war between the Corvathi Empire and the Feloran Confederacy grew worse every day. 12 star systems were now burning. Millions were dead. The Galactic Council held meeting after meeting but did nothing. Dr. Yuna was now Earth's acting ambassador. Minyo had been called back to Earth for emergency talks with the government. She sat in his office looking at reports that made her feel sick. The Corvathi were not just fighting the Felorans. They were destroying them. Entire cities were being bombed. Civilians were being killed by the thousands. A young officer named Sora knocked on her door. Sora worked in intelligence. She was 26 years old with sharp eyes and a serious face. Ma'am, you need to see this. Yuna looked at the datapad Sora handed her. Her hand started to shake. Are these images real? Yes, ma'am. Our satellites captured them yesterday. The Korvathi are using biological weapons. They're banned by every council law. And they're targeting civilian populations. Yuna stood up. Get me an emergency council session, now. 2 hours later, Yuna stood before the council. She was not as calm as Minho had been. Her voice shook with anger. Honored members, I have proof of war crimes. The Korvathi Empire is using biological weapons against civilian targets. They are violating every law we claim to uphold. She showed the images. Even the alien counselors looked disturbed. The pictures showed Faloran cities where everyone was dead. Mothers holding dead children. Streets full of bodies. The Faloran Confederacy is dying, Yuna continued. Their military is destroyed. Their worlds are being massacred. I am begging you to intervene. This is what the Council exists for. To prevent exactly this kind of horror. The High Chancellor clicked his mandibles together. The Council will take this evidence under advisement. We will vote on possible actions. The vote took 3 hours. When it was done, the High Chancellor announced the result. The Council has voted to continue monitoring the situation. We encourage both sides to pursue peaceful resolution. Yuna could not believe what she heard. Monitoring? You're going to just watch? Counselor Vrax stood. He looked pleased with himself. The human shows emotion. How young your species is. You do not understand how the galaxy works. The strong survive. The weak perish. This is natural selection. The Falorans are weak. They will be replaced by the strong. Natural selection? Yuna's voice was cold now. You're calling genocide natural selection? I am calling it reality, Vrax said. Perhaps humans are too soft to understand. You eat plants and speak of peace. You do not have the spine for what the galaxy requires. That evening, a visitor came to the human embassy. His name was Minister Haru. He was a Faloran, one of the few left alive. The Falorans looked a bit like Earth's cats, but they walked on 2 legs and had hands with 6 fingers. Haru's fur was gray and his eyes were wet with tears. Please, he said to Yuna. My people are dying. The Council will not help us, but you have a military. I have seen your ships. They are small, but they look advanced. Please help us. We have nowhere else to turn. Yuna felt tears in her own eyes. Minister Haru, I want to help you. But if Earth acts without Council approval, they will expel us from galactic society. They might even declare us outlaws. We would be alone. We are already alone, Haru said quietly. Soon we will be extinct. I am not asking you to save us. I'm asking you to remember us. To tell the galaxy that we existed. That we mattered. That someone cared when we died. After he left, Yuna sat alone in the dark office. She thought about everything Minho had said. About what humanity brought to the stars. About the choice between doing what was right and doing what was safe. The next morning, Sora brought more bad news. Dr. Yuna, our intelligence shows the Korvathi are planning to expand their territory. They're not satisfied with conquering the Falorans. They want more systems. Which systems? Yuna asked, though she already feared the answer. 3 human colonies are in their path. New Busan, New Seoul, and New Jeju. Total population of 5 million people. Yuna stood up fast. Are you certain? Yes, ma'am. We intercepted their military communications. They plan to take those systems within 2 months. They believe humans will not fight back. Yuna contacted Captain Deho immediately. His face on the screen was grim. I know, he said. We've been watching them too. Earth Command wants to know what the Council will do. I'll find out, Yuna said. She called another emergency council session. This time she brought Captain Deho with her. He stood in his uniform looking at the alien counselors with cold eyes. Yuna's voice was steady now. No more shaking. No more pleading. The Korvathi Empire plans to invade human territory. We have proof. We are here to ask the Council one last time to intervene, to stop this war before it reaches our worlds. And if we do not? The High Chancellor asked. Yuna looked at each counselor in turn. Then we will protect ourselves. We have asked for your help. We have begged you to follow your own laws. We have shown you evidence of atrocities. You have done nothing. So now we are warning you. Stay out of our way, Counselor Vrax laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. The humans threaten us now? With what, your tiny fleet? You have barely 200 ships. The Korvathi have thousands. You are frightened prey animals making noise before you die. Captain Deho spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, but somehow it filled the chamber. We are not prey. We are not frightened. We are angry. There is a difference. Angry, Vrax made his grinding laugh again. What will you do with your anger, human? Write a strongly worded letter? Una stepped forward. Her hands were fists at her sides. For 37 years we have been patient. For 3 months we have watched you ignore this war. For the last hour we have begged you to help. You think we are weak because we seek peace. You think we are foolish because we ask before we act. You are wrong. She took a deep breath. This is humanity's final warning to the Galactic Council. We are asking you as civilized beings. We are begging you as members of this community. Stop the Korvathi before they reach our territory. Please don't make us angry. The chamber was silent for a moment. Then Vrax started laughing again. Other counselors joined him. The High Chancellor simply said, "The human warning is noted. This session is adjourned." Una and Captain Deho walked out together. In the hallway, Una finally let her anger show. They laughed at us. Even after everything, they still think we're a joke. I know, Deho said. He looked tired. I need to return to the fleet. We have preparations to make. What kind of preparations? Deho looked at her. The kind we hoped we would never need. Ambassador Minho was right. We brought something from Earth. Something terrible. We kept it hidden because we wanted to be better. But the galaxy won't let us be better. So now we'll show them what we really are. That night, Una sent an encrypted message back to Earth. It was short, just 11 words, but those 11 words would change everything. Diplomatic options exhausted. Recommend military response. Time to show them what we are. On Earth, in the city of Geneva, Ambassador Minho sat with the military command. They looked at Una's message. They looked at each other. Then they opened a file that had been sealed for 37 years. A file marked Operation Righteous Fury. The galaxy had laughed at humanity's warnings. Soon they would learn why that was a mistake. 6 weeks later, the Korvathi war fleet arrived at New Busan. The human colony world hung in space like a blue and green jewel. 2,300,000 people lived there. They were farmers, teachers, scientists, children. Most of them had never seen a warship. Now they saw 800 of them. The Korvathi armada was huge. Their ships were dark and covered in weapons. They moved through space like sharks hunting prey. General Warlord Kreth commanded them from his flagship. He was the greatest Korvathi warrior. He had conquered 42 systems. He expected this to be number 43. Between the armada and New Busan stood 147 human ships. They looked small next to the Korvathi vessels. They were painted white and gray. They had no decorations or honor markings like other species used. They were just ships, tools. Captain Deho stood on the bridge of his flagship. The ship was called the Indomitable. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. No one was shouting or making speeches. They just did their jobs. A communication came through. General Kreth's face appeared on the screen. He looked pleased. Human Commander, I am General Warlord Kreth. You are outnumbered. You cannot win. I offer you terms. Evacuate your colony. Retreat to your home system. In exchange, the Korvathi Empire will allow your species to exist as our tributary state. You will provide us resources and technology. We will provide you protection. Deho looked at the Korvathi general for a long moment. Then he spoke. General Kreth, I am Captain Deho of the Earth Defense Fleet. I'm going to say something and I want you to listen carefully. I want the whole galaxy to listen. He took a breath. For 37 years, we asked you to be our friends. We offered partnership. We offered help. You laughed at us. For 3 months, we begged you to stop this war. You ignored us. For 6 weeks, we warned you not to threaten our people. You mocked us. You called us weak. You called us prey. You were wrong. Kreth started to speak, but Deho continued. We are not weak. We are not prey. We chose peace because we know the cost of war. We asked before acting because we wanted to be civilized. We warned you because we hoped you would listen. You didn't. So now you will learn what happens when you make humans angry. He leaned forward. This is your final chance. Withdraw now. Leave our territory. Never come back. If you attack, we will defend ourselves. In general, you have no idea what that means, Kreth laughed. It was a deep grinding sound. The human threatens me with his tiny fleet. Very well. Learn your place in the galaxy. He cut the communication and gave the order to attack. The Korvathi armada surged forward. 800 ships against 147. The math seemed simple. All across the galaxy, species watched on their screens. They expected to see humans die. They expected to learn that sometimes warnings meant nothing. They learned something very different. The human ships did not charge forward to meet the enemy like other species did. They did not form battle lines or honor formations. Instead, they scattered. They moved in ways that made no sense to traditional military doctrine. They were fast, faster than any ships the galaxy had seen. Then the humans opened fire. What came from their ships was not like normal weapons. The galaxy used plasma and lasers and missiles that moved at normal speeds. The humans used something else, kinetic rounds that moved at 90% the speed of light. When they hit a Korvathi ship, they went straight through it. The ship didn't explode. It just had a hole going through shields, through armor, through everything, a hole that let all the air out into space. But that was not the worst weapon. The worst were the antimatter torpedoes. When they hit, they didn't make an explosion. They made light, pure light, so bright that it burned out ship cameras. When the light faded, the Korvathi ship was just gone. Not destroyed, erased. General Kreth watched his fleet dying and could not understand what was happening. His ships were exploding all around him. The humans were barely getting hit. Their ships moved like they knew where every shot was going before it was fired. Later, people would learn that human computers could calculate trajectories millions of times per second. Human artificial intelligence could predict enemy movements before they happened. But in that moment, Kreth just knew he was losing. All ships concentrate fire on the lead human vessel, he ordered. 200 Korvathi ships turned their weapons on the Indomitable. They fired everything they had. Captain Deho watched the incoming fire on his screens. Deploy countermeasures, he said calmly. What looked like small drones shot out from the Indomitable. Thousands of them. They were tiny, each one the size of a human hand. They flew into the path of the incoming weapons. Every missile, every plasma bolt, every laser beam hit a drone instead of the ship. The drones exploded in tiny flashes of light. The Indomitable flew through the field of detonations without a scratch. Then those drones did something else. They kept flying. They swarmed toward the Korvathi ships like angry insects. When they reached them, they attached to the hulls. Then they cut through the armor with precise lasers and entered the ships. Inside, they found reactor cores and detonated themselves. 20 Korvathi ships exploded from within in the span of 30 seconds. Across the galaxy, species watched in horror. This was not warfare as they knew it. This was something else. This was efficiency. This was mathematics. This was cold, calculated violence without honor or mercy. But the humans did something else that shocked the watchers even more. They broadcast sounds across all channels, screaming. The sounds of dying Korvathi crew members. The sounds of hulls breaking and air escaping. The sounds of people begging for help that would not come. It was psychological warfare. It was meant to break enemy morale. It worked. Korvathi ships started to flee. Their captains abandoned their honor codes and ran. General Kreth screamed orders, but no one listened. They had come expecting to fight prey. They found predators instead. Kreth's flagship was one of the last ships standing. He watched Captain Deho's face on his screen. The human looked sad, tired. You had every chance to avoid this, Deho said. Every single chance. You chose this. You fight without honor, Kreth snarled. You use weapons that are cruel. You broadcast the screams of the dying. You are savages. No, Deho said quietly. We are survivors. We learned how to fight on a world that tried to kill us for 3 million years. We learned how to win wars when losing meant extinction. You learned how to fight for glory and honor and tradition. We learned how to fight to live. There is a difference. An antimatter torpedo hit Kreth's flagship. The screen went white, then black. The general warlord of the Korvathi Empire was dead. So was his entire fleet. The battle had lasted 6 hours. 800 Korvathi ships were destroyed. Human losses were 43 crew members killed and 19 ships damaged. Not destroyed, damaged. All 19 would be repaired and flying again within a week. Captain Deho stood on his bridge and looked at the debris field floating in space. Thousands of Korvathi had died today. He felt no joy about it. Only sadness. Only waste. Dr. Yuna arrived on a shuttle from Nexus Prime. She came to the bridge and stood next to Deho. Together they looked at the wreckage. Was this necessary? She asked quietly. Yes, Deho said. We gave them every chance. Every warning. Every opportunity to choose peace. They chose this instead. They chose to make us angry. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council watched the aftermath in complete silence. For the first time in recorded history, no one had anything to say. They had dismissed humans as young and weak. They had laughed at human warnings. They had thought they understood the galaxy and how it worked. They were wrong. And now they knew it. The question was what they would do with that knowledge. Would they learn? Or would they make the same mistake again? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. The galaxy would never laugh at humanity again. Ambassador Minho stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council and felt very small. The room was huge. It floated in space above a planet called Nexus Prime. Through the clear walls he could see stars everywhere. Hundreds of different aliens sat in rows around him. They came from all over the galaxy. Some looked like giant insects. Others looked like reptiles or birds or things he had no words for. Minho was 63 years old. His hair was turning gray. He had been Earth's ambassador for 20 years. 20 long years of trying to make the aliens respect humans. 20 years of being ignored. Today was no different. The High Chancellor Thiel spoke in a clicking voice. His body looked like a huge mantis. We discuss now the war between the Korvathi Empire and the Feloran Confederacy. Many systems are in danger. Does any member have a solution? Minho raised his hand. Several aliens made sounds that might have been laughs. The High Chancellor looked at him for a moment. Yes, the human wishes to speak. Minho walked to the center of the chamber. His voice was calm and clear. Honored members of the Council, Earth wishes to help. We can host peace talks. Our world is neutral. We have diplomats trained in conflict resolution. We can help stop this war before it spreads. The chamber filled with noise. Many aliens were laughing. Councillor Vrax stood up. He was a Korvathi, one of the reptilian race about to go to war. His scales were dark red and his eyes were yellow. The human thinks it can teach us about war? Humans have been in space for less than 40 years. My people have fought wars for 10,000 years. What can a species that lives barely 100 years teach us about conflicts that last for centuries? More laughter filled the room. Minho felt his jaw tighten but kept his face calm. We may be young to space travel, but we understand conflict. We know its costs. That is why we want to help prevent it. Vrax made a sound like a hiss. You want to help? Then stay out of the way. This is a matter for real powers. For species with actual military strength. Not for prey animals playing at diplomacy. The High Chancellor waved his long arms. The human proposal is noted and rejected. We will monitor the situation. This session is ended. Minho walked back to his seat. His assistant, Dr. Yuna, was waiting for him. She was young, only 35, with bright eyes that were now filled with anger. They didn't even consider it, she whispered. They just laughed at us. They always do, Minho said quietly. After the session, Yuna followed Minho to Earth's embassy. The embassy was small compared to other species buildings. Everything about humanity's presence in the galaxy was small. They had been invited to join the Council 37 years ago, when Earth's first faster-than-light ship reached Nexus Prime. The Council had welcomed them the way someone might welcome a pet. Sir, how long are we going to accept this? Yuna asked. They treat us like children, like we're not worth listening to. Minho poured himself water from a glass pitcher. His hands were steady. We accept it because the alternative is worse. What alternative? Minho looked at her for a long moment, showing them why they should have listened. Before Yuna could ask what he meant, a communication screen lit up on the wall. Captain Deho appeared. He was the commander of Earth's defense fleet. His uniform was dark blue and he looked tired. Ambassador, I need to report something. Our observation post in the outer rim just went silent. The one near the Korvathi border. Minho felt cold. Silent how? Completely. No signal at all. We sent a scout ship. Sir, the post is gone, destroyed. We found debris and bodies. 37 people were stationed there. Yuna made a small sound. Minho closed his eyes. The Korvathi? Yes, sir. Their fleet attacked a Feloran colony nearby. Our post was in the way. They destroyed it and didn't even bother to send a message. The war has started. Minho opened his eyes. They were hard now. Contact Geneva. Tell them I need to speak with the Unified Earth government immediately. And Captain, prepare a formal protest to the Council. 37 humans are dead. The Council needs to respond. Sir, do you think they will care? Deho asked. Probably not, Minho said. But we have to ask. We have to give them every chance to do the right thing. The screen went dark. Yuna looked at Minho. And if they don't do the right thing? Minho walked to the window. Outside, he could see the lights of Nexus Prime below. Millions of aliens going about their lives. None of them thinking about humanity. None of them worried about the small, weak species from Earth. They don't understand what they're dismissing, he said quietly. We came to the stars hoping for friendship. We wanted to be part of something bigger. Something better than what we left behind on Earth. But we brought something with us. Something we hoped we would never have to show them. What did we bring? Yuna asked. Minho turned to face her. His expression was sad. 3,000 years of knowing how to fight. 3,000 years of learning how to win wars. We survived everything Earth threw at us. Nuclear weapons. Climate disasters, pandemics, wars that killed millions. We survived all of it and learned from all of it. These aliens have fought each other for thousands of years too. But they fight with honor codes and rules and traditions. They've never had to learn what we learned. What's that? Yuna whispered. That when you're fighting for survival, there are no rules, only winning and losing. We hoped we would never need that knowledge again. We hoped the galaxy would be better, but it's not. It's the same old story. The strong take what they want, the weak suffer. And now they've made it our story too. Now they've killed our people. The next day, Minho presented Earth's protest to the Council. He stood in the same chamber where he had been laughed at before. He showed them images of the destroyed observation post. He showed them the names and faces of the 37 humans who died. The High Chancellor listened. Then he said, "The Council extends its sympathies to Earth for this unfortunate accident. However, the observation post was in a war zone. These incidents happened during conflicts. No formal action will be taken." Councillor Vrack spoke up. "Perhaps the humans should remove their posts from dangerous areas. If you cannot protect them, do not place them where real militaries are operating." Minho stood very still. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. "We asked you to prevent this war. You laughed at us. We offered help. You rejected it. We warned you that this conflict would spread. You ignored us. Now our people are dead and you call it an unfortunate accident. Very well. Earth, here's your response. We will remember it." He walked out of the chamber. Behind him, he heard aliens talking and laughing. They thought the humans were sulking. They thought Earth was weak and helpless. They had no idea what they had just done. They had no idea what was coming. Humanity had given them every chance, had offered every kindness, had shown nothing but patience for 37 years, but patience has limits. And humanity's limit had just been reached. 4 weeks after the Korvathi surrender, Ambassador Minho returned to space. He had been on Earth during the war. Now he came back to a very different galaxy, one that looked at humans with fear and respect instead of mockery. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Every member species attended. The chamber was packed. Everyone wanted to hear what Earth would say now, what demands humanity would make, what price the galaxy would pay for laughing at their warnings. Minho walked to the center of the chamber. He looked older than he had before the war. More tired, his hair was completely gray now. But his eyes were steady. He stood in the same spot where he had been laughed at so many times before. This time no one laughed. No one even whispered. High Chancellor Thiel spoke first. His voice tried to sound authoritative, but everyone could hear the nervousness in it. "Ambassador Minho, the Council recognizes Earth's military victory over the Korvathi Empire. We now must discuss how to integrate these new realities into the galactic order. The Council proposes that Earth accept certain restrictions on its military capabilities in exchange for guarantees of sovereignty." Minho looked at him for a long moment. Then he shook his head. "No!" The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens talking over each other. Thiel clicked for silence. "No, Ambassador, the Council is offering you a generous arrangement." "Generous," Minho repeated. The word sounded bitter in his mouth. "You want to restrict our military after we just saved the Faloran Confederacy from extinction. After we stopped a genocidal war that you refused to prevent. You call that generous?" He walked slowly around the chamber looking at each delegate. "You had 37 years to see us as partners. You had 3 months to stop a war. You had 6 weeks to respect our borders. At every turn you chose mockery and dismissal. You called us weak, young, irrelevant. You wondered why we kept our military capabilities hidden." His voice grew stronger. We hid them because we hoped we would never need to use them. We hoped you would be better than our history taught us to expect. We hoped the galaxy would give us a reason to believe that strength and violence were not the only answers. You proved us wrong. Counselor Vrax, who had lost all his power and respect, tried to speak. We did not know what you were capable of. If we had known, things would have been different. Exactly, Minho said. You would have feared us instead of respecting us. You would have acted out of terror instead of wisdom. That is not the galaxy we want to live in, but it is the galaxy you have created. He stopped walking and stood in the center again. Let me tell you something about humans. Something you should have learned before you ignored our warnings. We come from a world that tried to destroy itself many times. We built weapons that could end our civilization. Nuclear bombs, biological weapons, AI that could have killed us all. We came so close to extinction so many times, but we survived. And we learned. We learned how to control weapons of terrible power. We learned how to stop wars before they started. We learned how to turn enemies into friends. We experienced genocide, slavery, world wars, and worse. And every time we chose to be better. To do better. To build something worth saving. A new voice spoke up. It was Sub-Chancellor Lorne, one of the few council members who had argued for taking human warnings seriously. Ambassador, what does Earth want? What are your demands? Minho looked at him. We want what we have always wanted. We want partnership. We want a galaxy where species help each other instead of conquering each other. We want laws that are actually enforced. We want justice and peace. And if the Council cannot provide these things, Lorne asked quietly, then we will provide them ourselves, Minho said. We did not come to the stars to conquer. But we will not stand by and watch genocide either. Every war crime will be punished. Every aggression will be stopped. Every species that asks for our protection will receive it. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Dr. Nari stood up. She was a human psychologist who had been studying galactic reactions to the war. She looked young, only 30 years old, but she spoke with authority. May I address the council? Teal nodded. Nari activated a holographic display. I have been researching how different species have responded to human military doctrine. The results are disturbing. Many species are traumatized. They have never witnessed such efficient violence. In all of galactic history, warfare has followed certain patterns, honor codes, traditional tactics, rules that everyone understood. Humans broke all those patterns. You feared us for being young and reckless. You should have feared us for being old and experienced. We have had 3,000 years of warfare to perfect our skills. We learned from wars you cannot imagine. Wars where losing meant the end of everything. She changed the display. It showed statistics, battle results, casualty ratios. The Korvathi lost 800 ships to destroy 0 human ships. They killed 43 humans while losing thousands. This is not warfare as the galaxy understands it. This is applied mathematics. This is science. This is what happens when a species that almost destroyed itself learns how to win. The chamber was completely silent. Nari continued. Many of you are wondering if humans will use this power to conquer. I can tell you with certainty that we will not. Conquest does not interest us. But peace does, and we will enforce peace if we must. That should frighten you more than any desire for conquest. Prince General Vorn asked to speak. He had been invited as the new civilian leader of the Korvathi. His people had voted to make him their representative. I speak for the Korvathi when I say we accept full responsibility for this war. We attacked the Florans. We killed millions. We ignored human warnings. We deserve our defeat. He looked at Minho. But I also speak for my people when I thank humanity for their mercy. You defeated us, but you did not destroy us. You could have killed every Korvathi in the galaxy. Instead, you protected our civilians. You treated our prisoners well. You showed us that strength and compassion can exist together. We will not forget this. Minister Haru stood next. The Faloran Confederacy also wishes to speak. My species was dying. The Council did nothing. The humans saved us. They asked for nothing in return. They simply came when we needed them. We owe them our existence. More species began to speak. Some expressed fear of humanity. Some expressed gratitude. Some asked for human protection. The galaxy was reorganizing itself around a new reality. Humans were no longer the dismissed young species. They were the dominant military power. Finally, High Chancellor Thiel spoke. The Council has heard all testimony. We propose new articles of galactic law. First, that Earth be granted a permanent seat with veto power over military actions. Second, that human military doctrine be studied and adopted for peacekeeping operations. Third, that a new council law be created. This law will state that when any species issues a formal warning of military response, that warning must be seriously considered by the full council. He paused. Informally, this will be known as the Human Warning Law, because the galaxy has learned a terrible lesson. The species that most desperately seeks peace is often the one most capable of waging war. And when such a species warns you not to make them angry, you should believe them. The vote was nearly unanimous. Only 3 species voted against it. Earth was now a full member of the council with powers that no single species had ever held before. After the session, Sub-Chancellor Lorne found Minho in the corridor. "Ambassador, may I speak privately?" They walked to a quiet observation deck. Through the windows they could see the stars. Lorne spoke quietly. "You taught us something important today, something we should have known already. The most dangerous species is not the one that seeks war. It is the one that desperately tries to avoid it. Because such a species has usually experienced the true cost of war. They know what is at stake, so when they finally fight, they fight to end the war as quickly as possible." Minho nodded. "We hoped we would never have to teach that lesson. We tried everything to avoid it." "I know," Lorne said. "I watched you try. I argued for listening to your warnings. I was outvoted." "I'm sorry. We all paid the price for that vote," Minho said. "Humans, Korvathi, Felorans, thousands died because the council would not act. The question now is whether the galaxy has truly learned, or whether this will happen again in another few decades." "I believe we have learned," Lorne said. "Fear is a powerful teacher, and the galaxy is very afraid of humanity right now." "That is not what we wanted," Minho said sadly. "We wanted respect. We got fear instead, but perhaps fear will keep the peace where respect could not." He looked out at the stars. "Do you know what the hardest part of all this was? Not the fighting, not the deaths. The hardest part was losing our innocence. We came to the stars with hope. We believed the galaxy would be better than Earth was. We were wrong, and now we can never get that hope back. We will always know that the galaxy is just as violent and cruel as humanity ever was. That knowledge changes us, makes us harder, sadder, more cynical. But you will also be more prepared," Lorne said. "Next time someone threatens genocide, humanity will not wait for the council. You will act, and the galaxy will be safer for it." "Yes," Minho agreed. "We will act, because that is the burden we have accepted. The galaxy ignored our warnings. Now they beg for our protection. We will give it. Not because we want power,